Chase.
Bacon.
He has been baking. He's had a great season this year. Obviously, he hasn't lived up to what Shady would suggest the #1 overall pick is supposed to live up to.
Shady?
But, yeah.
You would say the same, right?
No. But what would a win for Baker Mayfield mean?
We just had a whole block about Lamar Jackson in the playoffs and what he did and what he hasn't done in the playoffs. Okay, these are just stats. Okay, this is not my opinion. These are stats. Right now, currently, Baker Mayfield has 2 playoff wins. Right now, currently, Lamar Jackson has 2 playoff wins. If he wins and Lamar loses, he could potentially have more playoff wins than Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying he's a better quarterback. Not even a stretch of imagination. Okay? But what it will do is he will have 3 playoff wins since 2018. You know the quarterbacks with only 2 playoff wins since 2018. He would have more than this. Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Drew Brees, Ryan Tannehill. They all have 2 playoff wins since 2018. I'm not saying we're going to move them up tiers and not saying we're going to do this. He had 4,500 yards passing this year, 41 passing touchdowns. He's one of 3 quarterbacks. You just can't. I'm stat-driven here because I want to make sure our viewers understand, and more importantly, Shady understands that this dude has had a great season. Not a good season, a great season. I know they're only 10-7, and they play in a division that's winnable. Baker Mayfield, I want to get this right.
Get it right, dog. Take your time.
Baker Mayfield is one of 3 quarterbacks in NFL history to record a season with over 4,500 passing yards, 40-plus passing touchdowns, and a completion percentage of 70% or better. One of 3 in the history, Drew Brees, Joe Burrow. Like, it would mean to me that he is changing the narrative of early in his career because back-to-back years he's done it. He's had good years. He's taken his team to back-to-back divisions and back-to-back playoff games.
Would you happen
Let the stats say what they mean.
Would you happen to have his stats on there from last year?
Yeah, they were solid.
I know he had a pretty good year. Last year's stats was pretty good year,
Stats-wise,
too.
I mean,
Oh, not last year.
Same story.
Now, last year, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So over the last 2 years,
solid year.
what's that? 69 touchdowns, 20.
Come on, dog. Average 35 a year?
It would mean that he's a bona fide, obviously, NFL starter, and it means he's a really good quarterback. A really good quarterback. Okay. Well, here's what we know, and it's not my truth. Shady lived it, James lived it, Chase lived it. I just know it based upon studying it. It's hard to win playoff games. It's clearly harder to win playoff games than you think. It's harder to win playoff games than I think because quarterbacks don't do it. Lamar don't do it. Jalen Hurts only won 2 of them. It's hard, so it must be harder to do than we think. Aaron Rodgers, I believe, is the greatest passer of the football in the history of the National Football League. He is 11-10 in the playoffs. Shady would suggest Josh Allen is one of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen. He is 5-5 in the playoffs. So clearly, winning playoff games must be difficult. It just must be.
It's difficult.
So if it's all that hard, and Baker got 3 of them, clearly Baker must be better than we think. He must be. Because winning playoff games, it is objectively difficult. It's easy for Tom Brady. It's easy for Patrick Mahomes. That's all it's easy for. It's clearly harder than you think. I've never run a marathon. Never run a marathon. Most of the miles I've ever run at one point in time is 5. But I ask people, I'm like, I assume running a marathon is hard. It's hard to do. Man, I got out there, tried to run me a little half. No. It's clearly harder than I think. Clearly harder than I think. What I'm suggesting, if Baker can win 3, he's obviously better than we think, Shady. He's better than we think, James, because winning playoff games is harder than we think, and he would have done it 3 times.
You want me to go or you go, Shady? Because you ain't gonna like my answer neither.
Is like, I just,
You ain't gonna like my answer neither. Go ahead, dog.
I've been hearing these 2. Why not 3?
Right, not 3. Okay, well then I guess I'll go, man.
Guess I'll go, man. You don't even look like we know what he's saying.
What would a win mean for Baker Mayfield?
Come on,
if Baker Mayfield wins this game and gets 3 playoff wins, and back-to-back years he's won a playoff game and took his team to the playoffs with really not a lot around him. Baker Mayfield has made a lot of plays for this team. 4,500 passing yards, 41 touchdowns. What a win would mean to me is franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
No more bridge quarterback. No more we looking for our guy.
Good answer.
He is the guy. Don't be looking for nothing else. You know what you should be looking for? Another receiver, another pass rusher, another linebacker, another safety. Whatever you need to make your team better, that's what you need to be looking for. If he goes to the season, and I don't care about division, you in the tournament. And if you win a game in the tournament, you're beating good teams in the tournament. Back-to-back years in the tournament with a win, equals franchise quarterback to me, right? Give him some more money, let him know he's the quarterback of the future, and build around him. It's a lot of quarterbacks that are out there playing football right now that are not as good as Baker Mayfield, and we still give their teams chances to go to the playoffs and etc. He will be labeled, to me, if he wins, franchise quarterback. I can't remember all the other stuff that happened in the past and all that. I can't. The last 2 years with Baker Mayfield in Tampa, he has let you know franchise quarterback, and I gave you 2 playoff wins as well.
Wait, you say you can't remember. What'd you say? Can't remember what?
I can't remember the first couple years of his career. I remember the last 2.
I could give it to you. I could give you how it's a lot of 6 and 7, 6 and 10. Real bad. Like
I can give it to you.
Yeah, 2018, 6 and 7 makes playoffs. 2019, 6 and 10 makes the playoffs. 2020, though, he was 11 and 5, great running game, great defense. He won 1 game. 2021, Browns 6 and 8, back to the regular missed playoffs. 2022, Panthers, Rams 2 and 8, missed playoffs, numbers. Last year, though, this one gets interesting, though. So we heard all them bad numbers. Yeah. Last year with the Bucs, he was 9 and 8. He barely got in there, and they won 1 playoff game, and then they went home. This year, they could. What's their record this year, Acho?
10 and 7.
10 and 7. Yeah. I know something like that. 9 and 8, 10 and 7, something like that.
7.
They're gonna win a game, and he's gonna go home. That's what he does. So if you're okay with that for your franchise, cool. Because I'm not gonna say that he's wrong, but if you want a quarterback, right, to come in here in the worst division in football, right? Matter of fact, let me just give you the other stats for the other guys you're going against, right? Because we talk about Lamar Jackson and the Steelers, Russell Wilson. We talk about them dudes, right? But let's talk about these guys. The Saints, 5 and 12 this year, right? No playoffs. They're going to be picking in the top 5.
Yes, they are.
Okay. The Panthers, 5 and 12, another team like that. They won't be going to the playoffs, and they'll be picking in the top 5.
Yes, they will.
These are the guys you're going against every year, and we pumping his chest. You play them twice a year, though. So that's 4 games you're going against guys that's 5 and 12. So you're going to have the stats. So I'm adjusting the stats first before I get to the playoffs. The Falcons. I mean, we can all say that franchise is like this.
It's only 6 of their 17 games, though.
But God, dog, if you're playing teams that are making 5 wins a year, I'm going to put stats up. Let's get to the playoffs. If he wins this playoff game against the Washington Commanders, this is what he does. All he does is he squeaks into the playoffs, right? Sneaks in there, right? Barely gets in there. They win 1 game and he goes home. I don't want that for my franchise quarterback. And for y'all to say this is my franchise, how? That's what y'all want for your franchise? Because my franchise is Philadelphia, we want winners, right? Guys that can go to the playoffs don't get it done. You know what they do in Philadelphia? They get moved on. Yeah, because that's what happens. And that's why you're going to see the Philadelphia Eagles in the championship games, deep in the playoffs, Super Bowls. These teams you talking about, they'll be one and done.
What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.